Anyway, fuck Russia, am I right?
Yeah. Well, what? They didn't do anything wrong.
What do you mean? Russia is like invading the Ukraine. They're bombing.
Whoa.
Yeah.
All she did was have a boyfriend, Nathan.
No, that's not Russia.
That's
Russia. God, that was such a bad joke.
It's horrible.
It's
but
funny.
It explains that like on the same day, like on Thursday.
Well,
or
obviously
whatever,
it's related.
on Thursday, it was like I was seeing tweets where it's like Ukraine has been bombed.
Yep.
Russia is being hyper aggressive now.
Yeah.
And the United States is like, ooh, baby.
Yeah.
Time to go bomb another country. Time to go bomb the wrong country while fighting against a force that's not in that country.
Yeah.
And then it's just like Russia, Ukraine, Russia, no. It's like, oh no.
Oh no. Yeah. So we got two little things to talk about here. Mm-hmm. So on the one hand, the country Russia. If you've never heard of it, a big country, the
second biggest country in the world,
largest country in the world by landmass. We're the second biggest. So they have invaded their closest neighbor, Ukraine, which is another country. It's actually the second or third largest country in Europe.
You want to know something funny?
What?
I didn't know where Ukraine was. I knew it was bordering Russia somewhere.
Yeah.
I thought it was bordering on the other side.
You thought it was bordering on the China side?
Yeah.
Or actually, well, there is no right side of Russia. It just goes to the end of Asia. But
yeah,
bottom
but then
right
but
is
right
China
bottom
is.
Where's China, and then like all the other like Japanese, Asian countries,
So, East Asian countries, yes.
East Asian countries. And then Ukraine is in the bottom left.
Yeah, and it is like the second or third biggest country in Europe. By landmass, Ukraine very famously gets taken over in wars because it's like one of the few places in Europe to have like bountiful fields that make growing things good, which is why
for a country that people would definitely like people in America and me would be like, wow. There's like nothing. This country looks like a piece of shit. I bet it's like all filled with poor people. I bet it's like what people actually think Russia is, and it's actually like actually Ukraine has the largest supply of natural gas and other shit in the world.
Russia's been invading. They already annexed Crimea, which is a region of Ukraine, back in 2014
because they need a new port town because the ports in Russia back then were like so frozen over it wasn't possible.
Yeah, but mostly it's because they're greedy and shitty and run by a fucking fascist. And so he wants to have more power and more land. That's just how those powers be. And so now they're invading Ukraine. There is a large anti-war effort across the world against this. And we do stand in solidarity with Ukrainians here on the Media Hole podcast. I highly recommend, if you can afford to send some donations out to people that deserve it. Do your research, though. Try not to get scammed. I'm not going to post a charity here. I tend not to do that, just because I am also somebody who does need to do my own research for stuff, and I do not want to do half-baked research and then drop it in the fucking description and give you guys some bad shit. But truly, like, reach out if you can. If you have friends or family out there, like, you've probably already messaged them, but, look out for them.
I'm looking at the president of Ukraine right now.
Mm-hmm.
He is a very Ukrainian man.
Yeah.
You look at him and you're like, that guy's Ukrainian.
Yeah. He was an actor on a TV show.
Also, we stand young presidents here.
We do. He's actually done a great job. You think he wouldn't have done a great job because he was an actor, but he's actually, like, really well respected, and since 2019... been dealing with this Russia thing really well.
I believe that actors and like other artists and stuff can become good politicians. Mm-hmm. It just so happens that by the time they want to be politicians, they're fucking rich.
Yeah,
and that means they lean more to the side of a Republican or or like a shitty Democrat.
Yeah, they're more centrist. They're more looking out for their own interests more so than the interests of the people. But apparently this guy, I've only heard good things.
The only cool politician that used to be an actor slash comedian slash performer is Jesse the Body Ventura.
I thought you were going to say Ronald Reagan.
Nope, never would. Did you ever see the thing with Jesse Ventura where
isn't he crazy?
He is insane now.
Yeah,
he is totally insane. But there was nothing. It was like he was a mayor of a town. Mm-hmm. No, he was the governor.
Oh,
he was the governor of Minnesota.
Oh,
and I believe it was him where some southern state asked for their flag back from the Confederate War.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Jesse Ventura was like, "Why? You lost. It's ours now."
Get bitched.
Because and it was also him being like the Confederate flags for pussies.
That's great.
Yeah.
You should tell that to those Canadians who just left Ottawa.
I wish we did have like a Confederate flag equivalent to show, so you could like see a Canadian and be like, "Oh, dickhead." I
think the Canadian Confederate flag is the Canadian flag.
It's the only one we got.
No, it's just because like it's less common to display a flag in Canada than it is in the United States.
See, you think that until you start driving a bit up north.
That's fair. It's still less common here than in the U.S.
Yeah, I would say that it's more like I do think it's weird, and but like all the people from Ohio don't really agree with me on this. Mm-hmm. But like that, like driving through when I go down to Ohio, I go through Buffalo, mm-hmm. and like you drive through the you like leave Buffalo really quickly and you go to like the boonies.
Yeah,
because that's the thing with America. It's like you're either in a city or you're in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Yeah, it's
obviously that's not true for places like New York, New Jersey, and like California, and the popular places of California. But it is true for like the rest of the country.
Yeah.
So like you immediately leave Buffalo, and then you just start seeing like houses that are like beautiful. They're on the side of the lake and shit. Mm-hmm. But they all have the white picket fence. Mm-hmm. Don't know why. They all desperately need to have it. And then they all have the fucking American flag poking right out from their front, like from just up to the right of their front door.
Yeah,
it's like everywhere. But then, like, whenever my mom goes there, she's like, "Oh, I count the flags," mm-hmm. and I'm like, "Yeah, sure, bitch." And then like just drive up north here and count the flags. It's the same amount.
Yeah, I think it is somewhat less popular here, at least, especially in the city.
Yeah, in the city, absolutely not. Even in the suburbs, also not. But like. Yeah.
In the boonies,
Once you go out a bit to a more rural area, you're going to see the flags.
But yeah, so I think that's the equivalent of being sus is if you're like fucking waving around the flag. Mm-hmm. But what were we even talking about? The other news was that Yura Harushia of Hololive, a VTuber, was.
She's a third-generation VTuber. She was one of the most popular.
Yeah, and she was dismissed allegedly for breaking her NDA and leaking some kind of information to people.
Yeah, so she went on.
This is coming hot off of that controversy where it appeared she seemed to have a male friend / a boyfriend coming to her house, which. Hololive did put out a statement saying, "Hey, that's fine, actually."
It's just
so it's interesting that this changed.
It's that Hololive, after putting out that statement, did nothing to quell the hatred of the fans, or that she was still receiving, and she was being harassed in her own chat. So her trying to clear her own name went to a third-party channel and it was like It's not the Keemstar of Japan. Like, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
But it's like...
Keemstar-esque?
It's a drama channel.
Okay.
It's a TMZ YouTube thing, pretty much.
Okay.
And she went to that, and that's where the leak happened, is that she sent conversations between her and like management and stuff or whatever, and that's the breach of contract.
Oh.
That's why they let her go. But honestly, I still think it's just like a totally pathetic to do that. It's so minor. It's like that's literally firing someone for their first strike.
Yeah.
Because if you're not going to consider the boyfriend thing a strike, which is for a lot of idols, if you aren't in the know, you're dead. You're gone.
You're gone.
You're never going to show up again. You might as well start doing porn. Like, you will not have a career, and your face is too well known. Like to do anything else for like a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she just got fucking bullied and harassed. Went to try and clear her name, and she got fired for it. I hope she goes independent.
Me too.
Because it's not like she was like a smaller tier. She's loved.
She's the biggest, but she would have to do it under a different name because Hololive owns the character.
Yeah, but for sure. But like, you know, Kei-san.
Yeah, like Kei-san.
Yeah. She's Usan. She just puts a U with san in front of her name.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. Just go independent. Like, just, that's all. But fuck Hololive for that.
Yeah, that sucks.
I thought it was really funny,
I
though.
had to see all the videos of like the rest of the third generation crying about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they're
very close.
Yeah. Well, they're all like, even though like between generations they're close and stuff.
Yeah.
There's like whole Hololive bitches I can't name, but they have like the most intimate relationships.
Yeah.
And they're like, we all love each other. Like, there's the fucking Indonesian branch.
Yeah.
I saw this really funny. This is why it was funny that Russia and the Russia thing was happening in the same day.
Because Hachima put like her condolences, but misspelled Russia as Russia. Right?
Yeah, and then also Kiara, who is from Austria, so very close in the world to Ukraine. She made a thing where she was like, "I'm going to take a week off. I can't handle the stress of the world right now.
Yeah,
I can't handle everything that's happening right now." Yeah. And some guy, first person in the comments, was like, "Yeah, it's really tearing me up that Russia got terminated as well." And the next dude was like, "Bro, I think she's talking about the Ukraine."
Hololive fans when things happen that aren't related to anime girls.
Hey, I can understand. Sometimes you just don't pay attention. Yeah. And also it happened at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, like obviously the Russia thing was more of an escalation, and the Russia thing was
over
like,
the last few weeks.
Looks like obviously. Oh, it's passing, and then it was
one of the things that I thought was funny is I saw like a post from a Canadian where it's like, oh, finally the Ottawa truckers have gone home. Like, I wonder what else has been happening in the news for everybody else. It's like, what?
Mm-mm. And now they're just trying to go to every other city and be totally fucking annoying.
Yeah.
You know what's so dumb? If they went to, I think they tried to go to Toronto.
Yeah.
The fucking shit's like loosening up in a week.
Imagine those motherfuckers having to deal with one Toronto man's.
Oh, man.
Oh, hey, man, damn. You're fucking trash.
Just like
you dumb.
The thickest like Indian Canadian accent you've ever heard.
Yeah.
With words you do not understand. Like there's there's hockey it's like hockey players like Jonesies and shit.
Yeah, speaking
and
completely
then Toronto mans.
Hockey players and Toronto mans both live in the same country and speak English. And yet they speak two completely different languages.
Yeah. I can understand hockey players.
I can understand
Toronto mans are just crazy because there's a new like hockey players.
It's because Toronto mans has such a Trini. Are you good?
It's Trini. No, that fucking pain just came back. I don't know why.
Sucks.
It might be the soda.
Oh.
Yeah, it's very Trini based, and they also have like a ton of new slang all the time. Where hockey players are literally using old timey slang.
Yeah,
like they literally say,
Donnybrook.
"Oh, we're gonna go have a Tilly Bud. Let's go have an old timey Donnybrook." It's like, what the fuck does it? Tilly's like a bit more modern, but Donnybrook is something you would say back in the fucking
1800s,
the 1910 and shit.
Yeah,
it's the Great Depression. I gotta go give my fucking boss at Donnybrook for not paying us.
It's like calling someone a pugilist.
Yeah.
It is a boxer.
Yeah. Stupid fucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah.
I know what all the words means, but I can't use them outside of like. I can understand them. I can understand it. I can't speak it.
Yeah. Hey fam, you fucking dumb, fucking vaxxed out. Bud.
Yeah. But there's like a lot more, and like there's a ton of trills in it and shit.
Oh, there is so much.
Yeah.
I just love. I love. So we do use some kind of Toronto man slang here. Because a lot of Toronto man's slang and Brampton slang and just like Canadian slang crosses over. Mm-hmm. We all say cheesed.
Oh yeah.
Like so that's apparently not a thing
You're
Americans say.
cheesing me, bro.
Yeah, I'm fucking cheesed.
Yeah. Chris says it constantly. That's like his number one thing.
Yeah. Derek pulls out the "Are you dumb?"
Yeah,
all
he
the
does.
fucking time.
It's like obviously that's a normal question.
Yeah,
but it's the inflection.
It's the inflection.
Yeah.
Are you dumb?
You replace the U with fucking 5 O's.
Yeah.
Dumb. Also, there's no B.
Yeah. Well, you don't pronounce the B in dumb.
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 B. All right. So that's the real world being horrible.
Yeah. And Hololive.
Yeah.
Which is less important. Obviously, in case you don't know, this is a Media Hole podcast, a weekly podcast in which me and my co-host Ian talk about the latest in news and entertainment and all sorts of shit. And yeah, the world's kind of rough right now, but we'll try to have a little bit of fun. It always is, but it keeps getting worse.
Yeah. So last week,
yep,
we took a guess on what that Capcom counter.
And the thing we did not mathematically compute into it was that the Capcom Pro Tour was happening.
Yeah, I didn't really consider
for
that.
Street Fighter V.
Because I just don't know. Because I don't care about the Capcom Pro Tour.
Yeah.
I care about like Evo and like other smaller events. But the Capcom Pro Tour has too many rules. Capcom Pro Tour was the first tournament to ban thuggery. That's why I don't.
It's also invite only, isn't it? It's not open to the public. It doesn't have
perhaps
pools.
Then. Yeah, you know what? That would make sense because it's the Pro Tour.
Yeah.
It's like you have to get invited to like the PGA Tour and shit.
Yeah, which like the reason why I think other fighting game tournaments are cooler is because like. And I've actually wanted
they start at like 10 a.m. You go in to
I've
pools.
always wanted to like make a movie about this that's like a pseudo documentary style of like just a guy can fucking walk in, be nobody, have no following, and win. Yeah.
Yeah. It happens every once in a while, but it's
every time it happens. It's fucking awesome.
It was really annoying because for a minute, a bunch of like the more baby players, were trying to argue that there should be priority for like pro players.
The pre-established pros should
I think previous champions do get a guaranteed spot in the slot, like in the top 16.
Yeah,
like you're not top 8, you're top 16.
Yeah.
So you have to own. So you can. There's 15.
I think that's
spots.
Reasonable if you are last year's champ.
Yes, that's the only time it's reasonable. But they were people were talking about like if you made top 8,
if you have a certain amount of following as like if you're a high enough pro.
That was what the discussion led to. But I believe it was like if you are the grand champion, of course. You should be in. And then someone was like, "Yeah, but like if you won all the way through winners, or you came in second, you should also be up there." And it's like, well, okay, 1 second. There's a deeper discussion about that depending on the game and all that.
I think
but then it got down to the point where it's like top 8, and then it became like, oh fuck top 8. It should be like based off of if you're a famous player, and it's like shut up.
I think. Yeah,
problem is
it's like
if you're a pro player and you can't make it out of pools,
that's your fault.
You fucked
up.
You suck, I guess.
That's another thing I like about it is you can be a pro sponsored player and just be playing dog shit that day, and you have all these sponsors on you, and you don't even make the top fucking 16.
Yeah,
I think that's funny. I think again, I would love to do like a comedic movie about like a fucking rando comes in off the street, like trains up and like gets to top 8. Because I think that you could do a fun comedy of the FGC.
Yeah,
it would be for like 5 people.
It just has to be also written though by people who understand the FGC. Because the problem is that when people outside of fighting games or esports and stuff try and write a series where like the joke is that some people can just get into esports and be better than others.
Yeah,
like that was like that Game Grumps show they had for like YouTube Red or whatever.
Yeah,
where like it was Danny discovers what fucking League of Legends or Dota was, and he decides he wants to make a pro team, but he's never played it. But then it does the whole.
They're not themselves. They're like
characters. It's not themselves. They're characters, but like it still is like it's still you were writing it from the perspective of
Dan Harmon wrote for that show.
That's
why there's good stuff in it.
Yeah, but they were writing it from the perspective of if you are just good, if you think you're good at video games, you can be a pro player.
Yeah, and you can't.
You can't.
The entire bit would be that you have to fucking work your ass off.
Yeah, the entire bit would be a guy who would like go to like his local fucking arcade, and then beat up like the 12-year-old who was really good at Tekken, and then go in, sit down with like a normal PS4 controller in his hand or something, and just get destroyed by the guy who has his own fight stick.
Yeah, get mixed slapped, and then
then he would, and then he would be
you'd have an Iron Man montage of him making his own fight stick.
Yeah, no, he makes his own fight stick, and then but he doesn't practice with it. He goes,
and then he just gets wiped out even worse.
And he gets wiped because, and he's like, he never tries to use the fight stick because you have to learn how to use fight sticks.
Oh yeah.
It's not just you pick it up and you're like, this makes more sense.
Yeah, there's still a learning curve from controller to fight stick, so you can be here with controller, you're going to be here with fight stick, but the top for most people, just by the range of motion. You're going to do better if you train on fight stick generally because you're more capable of certain things. So
it's like PC versus it's like keyboard versus mouse, keyboard and mouse versus controller for shooters.
I would say it's like it's a less of a big jump than that because like you see pad players fucking make it pretty high still and like do well, and sometimes they'll be the champ on a pad.
It depends on the game as well. Where like Tekken, most of those guys are on pad.
You're right,
which is crazy.
Same with MK,
which is crazy because Tekken was the game that made. Well, yeah, MK is like built for it. Tekken was the game that made me go like, I want to play on a fight stick.
Yeah,
and because the way I was already playing was like thumb for movements, but then I was like using like my entire hand.
Yeah,
to just on the face buttons. Because Tekken has a lot of like. You don't like a lot of fighting games, or you press a button like button next button, or press at the same time. But Tekken will be like press button, but already be pressing the other button at the same time at a half press.
Yeah,
it literally Tekken is the game where it's like there's 4 different presses to a button.
Yeah,
or 4 actions that happen when you press a button.
True. I think which one is it? KOF. I think some of them have like very. Complicated or no it's KOF has the complicated motions. Yeah that's it.
KOF is like the king of a pretzel motion.
Yeah,
that's what you have to do it constantly, like a full pretzel, not the fucking like half, like the one where it's like you literally going like
and doing that on an analog stick is much harder than doing it on a fucking
because also depending on the size of your gate you might just not be making less movements, and then but on the analog stick you have to make like the whole thing, whatever. But yeah, so we were talking about fighting games, but we didn't talk about the fighting game.
Street
Fighter 6 got its teaser trailer. Ryu is now, they're going to give him his beard, actually.
He is extremely wide.
Yeah, he is Chris Redfield wide. And then Luke was there.
Yeah, he was there, and he looks less like, to steal from Center and TV's video on this, looks a lot less like the racist.
Luke looks a lot better in the RE engine than he does because he got like spaghetti hair was a thing.
Yes,
for Luke specifically in Street Fighter.
Yeah, so we're gonna, and maybe this time the world will be ready for the next generation, which they weren't for 3.
I hope that a bunch of characters get redesigns in a cool way.
Yeah, it looks like they are going for.
Well, the Ryu design,
a more Joe Rogan-ified vibe,
with big sweaty
dad rap, realistic graphics, UFC looking ass logo.
Yeah, that logo is a point of contention for a lot of people because apparently all they did was go to something like on Adobe Create or whatever bought the logo.
So not quite. It is an altered version of a stock logo that you can get on Adobe stock images. It is an $80 license, and then they altered it to look, I think, a lot better.
And then put a 6 below it, like you have 6 notifications.
Yeah, but I would say to defend Capcom, buying stock logos is fine. Sometimes that's just what marketing do.
If it's an emblem that is like just in the background, fine. But I want to see a full title like menu splash that's in classic Street Fighter, like
yeah. I think it sucks so we haven't seen. Obviously, this is like such a small amount of game. We haven't seen. Maybe they will show off like a logo that has the classic writing on it, because this would be the first game that doesn't, and it feels like we're already past that point where they wouldn't have done it. That would have been like Street Fighter 4 era. Would have been smack dab.
Street Fighter 4 was the big like.
Would have been smack dab in the middle of like make things look more, oh, this is for like grown-ups and it's minimalized and it's this and that. You know what I mean? Like that would have been right there. But yeah, I'm really excited to see Ryu cosplay as Gears of War man. Haha, funny jokes.
He's got a big neck.
Game will be probably good. Or actually, no, the fucking guy left, didn't he? This game. The guy who... What the fuck is that guy's name?
Well, regardless, just because one
Street Fighter guy.
Just because one guy leaves doesn't mean the whole thing.
Yeah, but he could be over creative differences.
He could have been gone for a while now.
So here's the thing with Street Fighter 6 is that like, and any Capcom game is that pretty much every leak is correct about Capcom. I don't know why.
Yeah.
So we know like Street Fighter 6 had significant delays in 2020. Due to him leaving.
That's why they made Season 5.
That's why they made Season 5 of the Street Fighter 5. But yeah, they did because the guy whose name I forget, who has been in charge of Street Fighter, I think since the end of 3. He was the main guy on 4 in all the versions. So somebody who I think has proven himself relatively trustworthy for where to guide the franchise did leave because he was having real problems with Capcom over there where they wanted to take the direction of this game. Does that mean that this game will feel fresh and new and like a breath of fresh air and do all the right things? Or does this mean that this game will abandon what made the series good and will go for something that ultimately feels not so great? Only time will tell. There's a good chance for both or either or neither. And it'll just be okay. Because Street Fighter V doesn't even really feel that old, and we just got new content for it, and the game it was kind of underwhelming in many ways.
I was just trying to find the guy's name who might have left.
It was the guy in charge of the Street Fighter division.
Anyways, we're gonna get jiggle physics still, but now sweaty Cammy.
Sweaty Cammy, sweaty
Jury's feet,
sweaty Chun-Li. Bring back Hakan. Bring back Hakan.
I don't even know who that is.
He's the guy who oils up.
Okay.
Oil and slimy.
Bring back Chun-Li's Third Strike outfit.
Bring back Third Strike.
Yeah, that too.
No, actually, you can play Third Strike on the Anniversary Collection with online, which is good.
All they really need to do is just keep the Street Fighter the same. And if they want to change it up, just change some of the systems.
Yeah.
Keep the meter. Keep EX moves.
When's the other game in the Tekken Cross Street Fighter series gonna happen?
Never.
Yeah.
Or they keep saying it's like, oh no, it's like
no. I think it is officially canceled now.
I think it was, but it still is like one of those things where Harada said in an interview, he was like, still like to make it.
Yeah. Because so if you remember back in like 2009. Street Fighter Cross Tekken came out, which is a game in the Street Fighter style that features Street Fighter and Tekken characters, and it sucks. It's not very good. It has too many mechanics that aren't fun. But they never made the second one, which was going to be a game with the Tekken and Street Fighter characters in the Tekken style, which I think could be interesting.
But I think then
Tekken 7 already has.
That's kind of why Akuma was put into Tekken 7.
Yeah.
I think it was supposed to be...
But Geese is also in Tekken 7.
Yeah, so Tekken X KOF.
Yeah, I would love to see like an actual all crossover fighting game with all the big ones now. Like KOF, Tekken, Street Fighter, and Guilty Gear.
Just mishmash. Just impossible to fucking play.
Dude, it should have like... I made fun of Tekken Cross Street Fighter Cross Tekken for having too many mechanics, but if you would, put 1 million mechanics into one fighting game and you just went even more with it, I think that would be really funny. There was also that Capcom fighting game collection, so like Darkstalkers fans no longer on Suicide Watch.
Yeah. But also, since we're on the topic of fighting games,
I was going to say Rival Schools fans still on Suicide Watch.
Yeah, we got Akira.
That's fair.
Evo made an announcement.
Oh yeah.
They're going
because they're owned by Sony now.
Yeah, but that's probably why what this announcement is about. So they're pretty much going to announce all the official stuff about the show on March 8th.
Yeah.
So it'll be like what games are going to be there. But here's the thing.
What?
Straight up in the pre-announcement to the announcement, we want to let you know in advance that Super Smash Bros. Will not be making a return appearance.
Let's fucking go!
I'm not high-fiving that. I know you hate Smash Brothers, but it is a fucking huge fighting game.
I know. It's just like, on the one hand...
It is not Sony's choice to not do it, though. It was Nintendo's. So not just Ultimate, Melee. It's not... Well, not just Melee, I mean. Ultimate is not going there either.
Yeah, again, I'm not a huge Smash Bros. Fan. I don't love watching competitive Smash Bros. Even. So for me, I don't really care about this. I just think it's funny to say let's fucking go to that because I think that's funny. One
of them is funnier.
It is the most popular fighting game, but I also just find it really boring and I hate having to hear about it. So this is good for me. If you're a big fan of Smash Bros, obviously this sucks. But also, Evo got bought by Sony and now doesn't have a lot of the terrible people that were there.
Yeah.
So this is still, I would say, an overall win, depending. Now, if they announce there's going to be no pools because Sony is running it, then I'll be pissed.
There's going to be no pools because, I don't know, any other player. Because Justin Wong needs to go to top 8 or whatever.
Did you show me that he got the fucking... that Jaywon got again?
It happens to him constantly. Because he...
It's so rare.
Because at the time, that was incredibly rare to happen because no one knew you could do that or could even attempt it. But now it's like the framework is there.
Yeah.
Like, it's easier to become a video game designer now than it was back in the day when it was like, I actually had to fucking... wire shit onto like a motherboard versus I can just go into Unreal Engine and start or Unity and just start fucking around.
Yeah, the first person to do something does the most work. Like we all, I think at the time everybody knew you could parry it if you were that good. Right? It's like you could parry all those moves, but like why would you even try? Like it's too hard.
It's so situational.
Yeah. So, but then he did it, and everybody's like, "Oh."
The only reason to parry it in that scenario as well is that Street Fighter has chip damage.
Yeah,
and if he didn't parry them, he would have taken the chip damage
and would have died.
Yeah, so it's happened a couple times. But the best one was when he was on stream and the same like health bars were up, and he goes, "Let's go, Justin!"
Yeah,
and he fucking starts to do it, and the guy starts to parry him, and he goes, "Oh no!"
No, not again! Poor guy. That's the thing he's fucking famous for.
Is getting turned around and fucked. Yeah.
He's still like one of the best third strike players of all time. It's just Daigo is a better one. Sad day. But yeah. So, Street Fighter 6 is going to exist. This comes as really no surprise.
We knew it was coming.
Yeah, it was leaked ages ago.
Like, this is also... they dropped...
It's like the RE4 remake. We're not waiting to hear that it exists. We're waiting to hear them admit
We're
that
waiting
it
to
exists.
see gameplay.
Yeah, or like any visual element.
Did you see that, like, RE4 PC mod that people kept talking about? Where they were like, oh, it's like an HD mod or some shit?
Yeah.
I literally played RE4 earlier last year. It looks the same. Like, the people were like, oh my god, it looks so good. I'm like, I don't know if this is ironic anymore. Because it was like from people who would say that shit, and then like IGN people saying it. And I'm like looking, I'm like, this looks like the exact same fucking game I just played.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I've seen some HD stuff for RE4 where some mod related things that people have done that are looking really interesting that do because sometimes it's like we redrew all this shit to like like the Silent Hill 2 enhanced edition, like that's incredible, but like it's one of those things where it's like it looks kind of the way you think it would, but it's just like they've done so much work to
it. Looks like someone went on, like for the RE4 one, that they just went into the files and up-resed all the shit.
Yeah.
But the game doesn't really need that at all, so it doesn't make it look any better. And then I, like, but that's like what the Nintendo. That's what Dolphin does. Like when me and Blake were playing Strikers on the GameCube in his room on like his fucking 1080p TV and shit. One that was crazy bad.
Yeah.
But like it looks like shit. It doesn't look that good. But when I go put it on my PC, I'm like, wow, this looks like an indie game made like this year. Because like it's all smoothed out and shit.
Yeah, it depends on what settings you have on Dolphin too.
Yeah.
But it's more detailed to do it on the PC version of games, and also with games like RE4 and Silent Hill 2 that have textures that are just flat, like images. Upresing those images or like backgrounds can have a huge difference. One of the new things that they're working on for the next update for Silent Hill 2 Enhanced Edition is turning some of the backgrounds that are flat images into 3D models. So like in the opening of the games, there's the trees and the lake.
Yeah.
And like obviously on the PS2, on a fucking CRT, you couldn't really tell that wasn't, a fucking 3D model. But now that everything's in the game is up-resed on the Enhanced Edition, like it's really obvious.
Yeah.
So they're fixing it. They're trying to enhance it that way, which is cool. They're doing other stuff with level editors. I went down a deep dive of all the things they did because the PC version base was really bad.
Of Silent Hill?
Of Silent Hill 2, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like they added the depths of field effects to the camera in certain angles, and here it is, and I'm like, oh shit! I thought that was just in the game. But yeah. Well, what next do we have? My phone's over here.
Soul Hackers 2.
Oh yeah, the better game is part of a countdown this week. Soul Hackers 2.
I think I have the first one.
For PS2?
I don't know. Maybe there was a remake on the 3DS.
Oh, I think there was actually. Shin Megami Tensei Devil Summoner Soul Hackers, I think is.
Yep, this is the one I had.
Okay, they're making a sequel.
I think it's bad.
Huh?
I tried to play it on my Nintendo 3DS without knowing anything.
Yeah.
And the game has nothing, doesn't tell you what the fuck to do.
Yeah.
It's it's an old fucking game that it's like, hey, you better open the fucking manual to learn how to play this shit.
I don't know. Yeah, because it was a PS2 game.
Yeah.
I don't know how related Soul Hackers 2 is going to be. But what I will say that makes it look good is it's going to be a Switch game or whatever. But it's going to be done by the directing duo that did the Tokyo Mirage Sessions game. So it looks, when you look at the gameplay, you're like, oh, that's Tokyo Mirage Sessions. But Tokyo Mirage Sessions, like I said, is really only hampered by its story. So
the original Soul Summoners or whatever,
Soul Hackers
was released in 1997.
Oh, so this is a PS1 game?
Nope, the Sega Saturn.
Ooh, baby.
And then re-released in 1999 for the PS1.
Ah.
And then was released again in 2012 on the Nintendo 3DS.
Okay.
So
I don't know how related Soul Hackers 2 is going to be to Soul Hackers.
Probably won't be.
Probably won't be very related. But at the very least, it is essentially a sequel to Tokyo Mirage Sessions.
Also, wait, another note. The Nintendo 3DS one was the first time it was brought to the West.
There it is.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so don't know how related the two games are going to be, but I think this game looks pretty cool.
They'll probably be as related as Personas are.
Yeah.
Where
mainline SMTs are.
Yeah, sure.
They're
I don't know
related.
if Persona. Well, they only shared Igor in the Velvet Room.
Yeah, Persona
or a Velvet Room concept. It's a different room. In 4, it's a limousine with a hot tub.
Yeah.
And then in 5, it's we're in prison.
In 3, it's an elevator. There, I saw a really dumb take.
What? Was it by me?
No, not by you.
Damn.
It was on the Evo not having Smash tweet. And so it was Sony bought Evo to kill Smash Esports. Which, no, probably not true. Secondly, the second half of the take was just like Sony paid Atlas to not put Soul Hackers 2 on the Switch. It's on fucking PS5, PS4, and Xbox Series X and Xbox One. Like,
because Sony wants to kill Nintendo's stock prices so that they can buy them like how Xbox bought Activision. You're just not thinking of the big picture. You're playing fucking... you're playing checkers. I'm playing chess, bitch.
I think more likely Atlas being a small subsidiary of a smaller AAA publisher, and Soul Hackers being a more niche title, they decided to put it on certain consoles and not other ones, because the more SKUs you have, the more expensive your development gets. Mm-hmm. And the Switch is a much different SKU compared to the PS5, PS4, and Xbox Series X and Xbox One.
Pretty much all these fucking games now,
it's either really Switch exclusives or it's on the other two.
But a lot of the Xbox and PS5 still have similar frameworks and shit.
Yep.
Where it's like developing for a PC and then choosing which graphics card you're gonna fucking like optimize for next.
Exactly.
Where developing for Switch is like it's all fucking special hardware.
Exactly. And that doesn't mean new games aren't coming to Switch, because the Switch is actually like pretty popular system, right? Mm-hmm. It's just that games tend to be either Switch games or games on everything else.
Yeah. So either you make it only a Switch game and take a big loss, mm-hmm. or you take it or you put it on everything and make a ton of fucking money.
Yeah. Well, and like Soul Hackers, I think Soul Hackers 2 would perform well on Switch. JRPGs tend to, but
especially since in like the design style it is, you don't need it's a stylized game, not hyper realistic graphics. As long as everything is smooth on the Switch, no one fucking cares.
But it's possible that Nintendo didn't really cut a very good deal to Atlas for it, or Atlas is weird and they choose to put games on consoles weird. And look at, okay, this game wasn't developed by Atlas, but it was published by them because Atlas owns Vanillaware. But 13 Sentinels came only to PlayStation 4, mm-hmm. and now is getting a Switch version later on, a couple years, like 2 years later, right? It's just how it is sometimes, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's Atlas. If Sony did pay Atlas, they would have paid them not to put it on fucking Xbox, which Sony clearly views as its main competitor. Because as you can tell, Sony is still publishing games to go on the fucking Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, same with Xbox.
Yes. Sony does not view Nintendo as a competitor.
Also, if Xbox in more recent years has allowed themselves to move into the PC market, which just really goes to show, because the PC used to be a contender. It used to be like it used to be one of the major consoles.
Yep.
Now, because of what Sony is doing by also putting like Sony games on PC, like the Uncharted collection is coming to PC, mm-hmm. God of War is on PC, Horizon. I think Forbidden West is coming to PC like
relatively soon. Yeah,
yeah, it's not like a long way. I think Ragnarok is going to be the same.
Yeah,
PC is no longer a contender in the console wars.
Yeah,
it's like if you're a fucking weirdo and you want to build a PC, have at you. That's literally what they're doing.
It's a very expensive way to play most games. Some games you're going to get the best version. Some games you're going to get a worse version on PC.
If you buy a PC and don't play shooters, honestly, you might have just wasted your money.
Yeah, exactly. If you go crazy, if you go ham on a PC and you don't play shooters, you might be fucking crazy.
Here's the reasons why you would need a PC. One, things that video game consoles don't do.
Yeah.
Like editing, like making videos, editing shit.
Writing Word documents.
Well, you can do that on a phone.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of like things that you can really only do well on PC. Like you can do
Photoshop.
You can do Photoshop on your phone, but not
it's
to
not
the same level.
Yeah.
You can't edit videos to the same level. But like,
if you say at a podcast,
playing a shooter is drastically different game.
Yeah.
Playing Monster Hunter or fucking like Elden Ring, like that's fucking dumb. Get a controller out, man.
Those games are built for controllers. Does that mean you cannot use fucking mouse and keyboard?
There's this really good streamer I watch.
Right, like Yakuza tells you to use a controller. Yeah. You can still use mouse and keyboard.
There's this really good streamer I watch who's like based in Texas.
Yeah.
His name's JFJ. Mm-hmm. And he streams exclusively on YouTube, but he plays Monster Hunter on keyboard and mouse.
Weird.
Yeah. I don't know how he can put up with it.
Fucked up.
He plays all his games on keyboard and mouse. Even I think he plays Yakuza on keyboard and mouse as well.
Well, then he should go to jail.
I think that's how he was raised. I think it's one of those like things because a lot of people now, like you have a console, and then once you get really into video games, you go down like a corridor pretty much.
Yeah,
you get a PC, or you always are ready to buy the newest console, or you get every new console.
Yeah.
Or you might get one,
or
whatever.
Me and you do both.
Or you were born with just like always having a PC in your house that could handle stuff, and you didn't have a controller because controller support is a relatively new thing.
Yeah,
mass controller support.
Yeah, like it's only been around like 10, 12 years now.
Yeah, so if you grew up always playing on keyboard and mouse, then it will be the most natural thing for you to keep playing on it.
Yeah,
but you're still a fucking weirdo.
You're still a weirdo.
Yeah,
100%. I personally prefer a controller for everything, even shooters, because I'm a fucking weirdo. Mm-hmm. I also prefer my consoles. I like them. I like them a lot. I like consoles. They're fun.
Yeah.
PS5 is probably my favorite console I own. And I love the fucking controller on that thing. And I love it when you're playing a PS5 game and it does cool shit.
I had to buy a second controller because I ruined.
They die really fast.
I know. I ruined my white one that came with the console.
Wait, you ruined it?
There's something weird with PlayStation controllers.
Yeah.
With their rechargeable battery, where if you leave it plugged into a PC, it just like makes the battery stop working.
Oh yeah, that's so true.
So now, since I already play with it plugged in, and I had like a gift card to GameStop, I just bought a new controller. So I have a black controller for downstairs, like on the TV on the actual PS5
computer,
and the white controller sitting on my desk.
Yeah, I'm still using my PS4 controller for my computer.
I just wanted a better feeling controller. That's it.
Yeah.
Like the PS4 controller now feels like so cheap in comparison to the DualSense.
Yeah.
Like the only thing I don't
like about the DualSense is the battery life, but that's because it's doing so much shit.
If you went into the settings and
disable the cool shit,
put like the lights on like the minimal amount
or
and
off,
turned vibration off,
it would be like, and turned HD rumble off or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
like, and just had it be normal, and then also like turned off the adaptive triggers. Then the battery would be so much better. But those are the things that make the controller cool.
Yeah. Like, there's a Horizon Forbidden West has some amazing ones. Like, when you go to, like, pull the drawstring back on the bow, you get restriction on the left trigger and on the right trigger. And then when you release it, you can feel it just, like, pop up immediately. The controller's, like, doing, like, rumbles on, like, the inside of your hands. Or then there's, like, guns. You can get, like, these guns that you destroy off of, like, the machines, and when you go to use them, there's this one called the Deathbringer gun. It's one of the more common guns in the game.
Yeah, and
you can find it in bandit camps because they use it against you. Well, their leaders do. And when you go to start firing it, it's got like a heavy resistance on the trigger, but because it works like a Gatling gun. Yeah. So as it fucking starts firing more and more, it lessens, but then you still feel like the little taps and shit. It's like, God fucking damn.
Love that.
It's like such a way. Cool. It's such a good way of like bringing you into the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good shit.
Mm-hmm.
Video games are cool.
Yeah, especially when there's passion behind it.
Yeah.
Speaking of two companies that aren't cool, number one, Ubisoft.
Yeah. Fuck Ubisoft.
Their next Rainbow Six major is supposed.
The tournament, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
like for Rainbow Six Siege, like they get their professional teams in. They do a really good job.
Rainbow Six Quarantine's already out. Or Extraction.
Rainbow Six Extraction is a co-op game, not a multiplayer. Well, it's not a PvP game. So Siege their next major was supposed to be at the United Arab Emirates, which a bunch of professional players said, one, I will not go.
Yeah.
For either of these reasons. I'm gay.
Yeah.
Of some sorts. Or I'm straight. I just do not believe in supporting them because they're a horrible country that murders people indiscriminately. Mm-hmm. So Ubisoft has yet to like say anything back. Hopefully they change the location because you're just gonna segment like part of the fucking team and shit.
Yeah. Also, straight up, that game does not need in-person tournaments.
It does because you can hack. You can you can cheat in that game. So it's like they set up their own. People set up rigs. They're very careful. They have I can't remember what it's called. There's a really sci-fi name for it. It's pretty much there's a computer that's connected to all the other computers and can see whatever someone changes in the game, or if they plug something in to be you're cheating.
Yeah.
To stop hacking and stuff. And then, they do sell for ticket sales and shit. You do make money that way.
Bro, fucking.
Because digital ticket sales are a fucking joke. I'm never paying for a digital event.
Yeah. Fucking imagine going to a physical event to watch people play Rainbow Six Siege.
It's exciting. Someone who loves Rainbow Six or other shooters could say the same thing about a fighting game.
Yeah, but okay. But Evo is more like a convention than a fucking event like that. You know what I mean?
But for that shit, well, Evo's a huge event because it's a multi-day event.
Yeah,
with a ton. Well, I guess this is a multi-day event as well.
Yeah, but is this more like a con? I was thinking of it more like a fucking concert.
It would be more like a sports event. Yeah, but it's multiple days because you have to, there is pools and stuff they still play through. Mm-hmm. Or no, they don't play through pools. What it is that
there's losers and stuff like
there's
that.
There's the set teams that have that are sponsored and stuff.
Yeah.
And there's no losers. It's just that they play a ton of games. Mm. So you'll play a bunch of games over the course of 3 hours.
Okay.
So it's not it's not best of 3 or whatever. I think it's best of 9 or some shit. But then you also are playing you're playing 5 rounds in game, and you have to win the best of you have to win 5 games or something to beat everyone. They play for a long time. Or CS games and shit. Those are super long as well.
This is not me shitting on any pro or enjoyer of Rainbow Six. This is more me shitting on
people who go to the events.
Yeah, or just the idea.
Yeah.
It just seems dumb. I like Rainbow Six Siege. I played it back when it came out. I think it's a fun game.
Oh, also I didn't come and write this one in. Apparently there has literally been no change at Ubisoft. It's been 200 days since they said they were committing to changing their workplace environment and getting kind of quell some of the toxicity, and Ubisoft employees are just sitting there going you haven't done anything.
Don't worry, Ubisoft also is trying to talk shit and make everybody buy NFTs still. They have not given up on their thing. I think
Ubisoft is a company that makes some pretty great series. The people who are part of them are awesome. Hitman. Nope, they never made Hitman. They just published it for a minute.
They didn't even publish it.
Did they not?
No, Square Enix did.
Oh, I don't know. I always thought that it was a thing. You know why?
Why?
Because Ubisoft corners the market on stealth games.
Pretty much, yeah.
Watch Dogs, Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Watch Dogs isn't good anymore, but if they fucking didn't... Watch Dogs Legion's
2 was good.
Yeah, 2 was good. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. They should have gone in the same level where it was
I didn't play Legion, so I don't know if it's bad.
It was... I think I
heard some good things.
I heard good things, but it was one of those things where it's a bunch of influencers who are paid to play the game said amazing things about it up until it came out. And then once it came out, no one talked about it because the influencers were doing...
I think part of the reason nobody talked about it was because it came out at the same time as a game that just had a lot more hype, right? The Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. Assassin's Creed as well. I think those are really good games.
I think there were some great Assassin's Creed games, but I think the fact that I have not played an Assassin's Creed game in 5 years now shows how important it was.
Because you don't like the gameplay of Origins, and that's the new gameplay style. Where there could be some guy who hasn't played since 1 because he's I don't like how they made combat better in 2. Or that stealthing is just a little more complicated. The Splinter Cell series is pretty much dead, but I would love for it to come back.
Yeah.
Rainbow Six is a good series. It's a very fun multiplayer game.
Siege is good.
Quarantine obviously is not.
Quarantine didn't look good. What was that was Ghost Recon.
Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter. It's Gra.
No, but there was the Ghost Recon Wildlands was the last.
Yeah. And then there was, and then they also have The Division, which I don't know. I
played the first game and thought it was all right.
I hear from people that continue to actually play it is that it is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just that it doesn't have the.
I thought that your shirt was like fully up, my guy. I thought that was your skin.
Yeah.
I like did a double take. If you could see that on video, I was like, his fucking.
I took off my shirt and put my jacket on to hide some of my nipples. Yeah, I think the problem with the Division is that it doesn't have the money behind it like Destiny does,
and also like it's. I don't know.
Assassin's Creed is the real big money maker.
Yeah, it's Assassin's Creed, and then like if you treat every Tom Clancy thing as its own franchise, like as one franchise rather, like Tom Clancy, right? Because like even Splinter Cell fits in that. But
it does. I would say the other like Rainbow Six.
It's fucked up that Rainbow Six and Ghost Recon exist.
Yeah, Rainbow Six and Ghost Recon are like pretty much similar.
They're in the same fucking Tom Clancy verse.
Yeah. Splinter Cell, at least, it's like Splinter Cell is a Tom Clancy thing,
but it's like different.
It feels very different compared to it. And also the theming, like Rainbow Six is like it's good that there's an international police force. Yeah, it's a great idea.
Same with
the terrorists are out there, and we need to stop them.
Yeah,
and we will do anything, and we will even let other terrorists come and join us as long as they help stop the other bad terrorists,
the worst terrorists.
Yeah,
the fucking liberation terrorists.
Yeah, but then Splinter Cell is like conspiracy theory in the game.
Yeah,
where it's like there's a terrorist organization or there's a secret sect of like people who are trying to kill the president. Mm-hmm. And it's just Sam Fisher is a man who's trying to save freedom in America.
Yeah.
But then the villains of the game are always America.
Yeah.
But then they get...
Or actually, that was really just Conviction in the one after it.
Blacklist, yeah.
Blacklist.
Well, Double Agent, I don't know what the fuck was that.
Double Agent is the one where it's like you have to, just like you infiltrate a terrorist group. That game's so not fun. Apparently,
I love that one.
Really?
Yeah.
Did he play it on next gen consoles or did he play it on like PS2?
I think he played it on PS2.
Okay, I played it on PS3 and it fucking sucks. But I think that game is like one of those games where it's like for whatever reason they're two fully different games, and the PS3 version for some reason was the one that sucks dick.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Yeah, me and Blake played a ton of Conviction together. Splinter Cell Conviction is the exact same, has like the exact same plot as Live Free or Die Hard.
Yeah.
And that's why it's sick. Like
Splinter Cell Conviction, I think, was the first game that did that cool thing where all the text is like diegetic.
Yeah. It's like with it would be up on the walls. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is always cool.
Well, like my favorite shot in the best animated movie. Yeah. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah,
is when he's like having like he's like freaking out in like the control room.
Yeah,
and then across like the window behind him, it says "duck." I'm like, fuck yeah, that looks sick. And then shit comes popping through, and there's a bunch of shit like that in Splinter Cell, where there's like one where you're like in an office building and you're like getting the data you need to like stop the bad guy or whatever, and then a bunch of other Splinter Cell operatives break in, and usually it says like on the wall it would be like, eliminate the people. When they come in, it's like escape.
Yeah,
it's so cool. And Sam Fisher in that is like definitely perfect.
He's just Jack Bauer.
Yeah, he's Jack Bauer. He's John McClane.
I say Jack Bauer because you do literally torture people in the game.
Yeah. I think it would be cool to have a note.
Although I remember as a teenager, I was about to say as a kid, and I'm like, that sounds bad. As a teenager, I remember just in the scene where you torture the guy in the bathroom, just fucking bust him on all the urinals.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's so funny.
It's just so nasty.
Yeah.
Because it's like, not only are you getting your face smashed through something, it happens to be a fucking urinal.
Some of them are so brutal. That's what I love about it.
Yeah.
I like it when things go to the extreme. And I think Splinter Cell Conviction does a really good job of having like extreme dumbass movie gameplay, but a grounded weird story.
Yeah. Also, the mark and execute thing is fun.
Yeah, it was sick.
That is a good shooter for console, because it is not really about being great at aiming.
Yeah, and you have a lot of time to like figure out your shots, and if you can't do it, you can go like just do stealth takedowns on some people,
and then you do the mark and execute.
Yeah.
which is great. It's just fun.
Mm-hmm. Also, I believe that game had
if you do like that, play the much worse game 007 Bloodstone. It's the real third Daniel Craig 007.
Yeah. So also Square Enix.
Man, okay. So Square Enix had their big financial thing for Q3, and Square Enix. So there was a bunch of articles written about. Oh well, they said Guardians of the Galaxy didn't perform the way they wanted to, right? And a lot of people reported that just like it's a normal thing for a business to say. Now, first of all, one of the reasons why is because they really poorly marketed that game, IMO. Especially like when it was announced, they made the trailer extremely long and showed the same parts of the game over and over again.
Yeah.
Which didn't make the game look good. And the game's really good. And secondly, like they announced it, they didn't announce it way ahead of time like you usually do with a game like that, which is a good thing and a bad thing. But also like I don't think they advertised it super well around its launch. So that could be one reason why it didn't perform as well. But I think the other reason why it didn't perform as well as they wanted is because Square Enix is delusional. And they always say games don't perform the way they wanted.
Because they nothing comparing to a mainline Final Fantasy or
and
Final
even
Fantasy
still,
14.
Like, the Western games that Square Enix makes are all extremely high budget, right? And also... tend to perform pretty well, and they just always say that it didn't perform where they expected. Like the Tomb Raider reboot, the first one, 2013 or 2012's Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Everyone bought that fucking game. Right? You probably bought that game, right?
No, I didn't.
No? Okay. I bought that game. A lot of people I know played that game. It's a very popular video game. Right? That game, Square Enix said, didn't perform well. The reason why Hitman 3 and I believe also 2 were self-published is because Hitman 2015, the first one, the episodic one that started the World of Assassination trilogy, a very popular game and a very popular trilogy of Hitman games, was quoted by Square Enix as not performing what they expected. Square Enix is fucking delusional. Like, a game selling multiple millions of copies can still be considered a fucking failure in Square Enix's eyes because they are delusional and they do not know how much a Western game can sell. Like, because they compare everything they make to fucking Call of Duty or whatever the biggest selling thing in the world is. And it's like, okay, not all the people who are going to buy Call of Duty were going to buy Tomb Raider, but Tomb Raider was extremely popular and sold quite well.
Yeah.
Right? Fucking same with Hitman. Hitman's not going to do Call of Duty numbers because it's a more fucking niche thing.
Also,
but those 3 Hitman games sold really well.
I don't want video games to all do Call of Duty numbers or fucking Breath of the Wild numbers and shit.
Or Grand Theft Auto numbers.
Grand Theft Auto numbers. Sometimes things can just be smaller and self-contained. You don't have to put in... You should put in a lot of effort into the gameplay. But I don't need fucking hyper-realism open world games anymore. I'm very tired of them.
Yeah, it doesn't all need to be that. Like, and again, like the Hitman games are very high budget. They're very high quality. Like the 3 new ones.
And also I said I'm not going to talk shit on. I don't believe Hitman to be open world.
Yeah,
people like to
use
like that term
area.
now. Yeah, it's like it's Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
Like where you fucking like you get sent somewhere
like
and that area
I like
is
some
open.
games with a big giant open world, but here's my thing. If you're going to make an open world video game that has a large area, like an area bigger than a Yakuza zone, give me a fucking traversal mechanic or get the fuck out of my face.
Like you can go up.
Yeah, get Dying Light 2, run around in that game, parkour fun. Spider-Man fun. You're going to play an open world Spider-Man game because it's fun to move through that world. Fucking, all I can do is like walk or drive car, it's going to be less fun to go through that world.
I want to drop the realism. Also, grappling hook, every game.
Grappling hook's just
good.
Good.
Grappling hook.
Grappling hook, good.
Literally, Breath of the Wild 2, no grappling hook. We got some issues here, buddy.
No grappling hook, no buy.
No, I'll still buy it because I'm a slut. But
sure.
like, that's literally we are in the grappling hook renaissance.
Yeah.
There needs to be a grappling hook in every video game now.
Post Uncharted 4. Yeah.
Yeah, Uncharted 4 did it really well. Halo has a really fun one. Pathfinder and Apex Legends is one of the top most played characters, despite the fact that just because he has really good movement, it's not very useful for a lot of other things in that game.
Yeah, but it's the grappling hook.
It's the grappling hook.
You want to move.
Yeah, he has a weird movement technique that no one else has. And that's why people love the grappling hook.
That's why people wanted to play as a fucking pilot. Yeah. Because he do parkour and parkour fun.
Yeah. But then when you don't have parkour, grappling hook is a good option.
Yeah.
Like there's a grappling hook in fucking Horizon. I wish it was much more freer than what they use it for.
Like you mean similar to like the rope in Ghost of Tsushima, right? Because you don't get to use it that much. There is a grappling hook and it's good. But
you mean in Ghost of Tsushima there's the rope you don't get to use much?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Yes.
Yeah, right? Like, it's like,
the rope in Ghost of Tsushima wasn't really it wasn't a forward momentum thing. It was a lot of fucking...
It's up and down, mostly.
It's up and down, yeah.
So you don't have fall damage.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, so anyway, Square Enix, get your head out of your fucking ass.
And also they're like, we'll maybe pick it up with some of our Q4 titles. And people were like, are they announcing something new? No, they meant fucking triangle strategy. Like, and Live Alive. And like, listen,
can't wait for both of those to be considered fucking also failures now.
I pre-ordered Live Alive. Like, I wanted to play that game. That game looks fun as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, I love JRPGs. I didn't pre-order Triangle Strategy because it didn't look as fun to me. These games will be considered failures as well. Mm-hmm. They are smaller titles. They're still going to expect really high numbers. I don't think necessarily maybe Square isn't, because technically those games are being published by Nintendo and developed by Square. Yeah. So I think Square is like, we've fucking, this is money.
Money's not on ours.
This is pure money. So who fucking cares? Yeah.
I'm not on mic, so that was worthless to say.
Yeah.
It'll be in the background. I'm just grabbing some water. My head hurts.
Yeah, no worries. But yeah, I did a big pre-order fucking hit recently.
Yeah, so I did as well.
Yeah, got the fucking Live Alive, Nintendo Switch Sports, all the like Tales or Trails games that are being remastered, and Kirby.
And Kirby, of course. That's the most important one.
Yeah. But anyway, so that I'm sure that's money in the bank for Squeenix for those upcoming games. But and so, same with Chrono Cross. I think that's just coming out as a digital only title, which again I'm sure costs Square Enix not very much to make. So I'm sure these will perform okay. I just think it's funny how fucking diluted they are.
Yeah.
But what else do we have, Ian? What was the last thing that we had?
Oh, the last thing was Rusha, but we put that towards the beginning.
Oh no, wait, no, but we've got. They also this week announced that they're going to be doing a Nier Automata anime.
Oh yes, they are.
It's being produced by Aniplex, but they have not announced a studio or a director yet. But they did show off a little bit of key art, which looks nice. Hopefully it's good. I would love for them to do really crazy shit. I saw one article speculating that they might do show the different timelines and maybe do like a bunch of episodes that are almost the same type deal.
Yeah.
Or other crazy shit. I would love to see them do really experimental, because like it's fun when things do that. And Nier Automata does have experimental elements in it. And of course, like an anime for that game. It's funny, we were actually talking about an anime adaptation. I was like, yeah, probably. I think Nier Automata might not be that good as an anime, but
I think Nier Automata might not be, but if you do a separate story, about other characters,
it's probably just going to retell the game.
Yeah, probably.
So who knows? Maybe it will be good. Maybe they get like some kind of visionary type motherfucker to do it, and it's awesome. But most likely it'll turn out like most other video game to anime adaptations, where it's just okay. Mm-hmm. I was saying when we were talking about this, I was saying Bravely Default should get an anime adaptation just because it's got a good story elements, but it's just like overall a game that's maybe a bit too long and a bit too bland for big chunks of it for a lot of people to get to the cool shit.
Yeah.
Which isn't me going like it's genius and everyone's too stupid to get it. It's me going, yeah, the pacing's kind of rough at points. Yeah. And if you stick through it, it is cool, but also it can be hard sometimes. Especially now that game's old as fuck.
Yeah.
I didn't hear anything about Bravely Default 2. I hope Bravely Default 2 has as big a fucking crazy twist, weird shit at the end.
Yeah.
Because I think it's cool when games have cool, weird shit in them. Personally. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
But it didn't have a subtitle, so they can't do the exact same twist.
Yeah.
Where it's like they cut certain words and letters out of the subtitles and it says something important. Fuck it. The game's 12 years old. Bravely Default 1, there's a character who is a fairy named Airy. And
creative.
Yes. And the game's full title is Bravely Default Where the Fairy Flies. And that's on the main title screen. And then when you get to the ending and it makes you like see the universe destroyed and rebooted multiple times, you kind of find out that your companion who's been helping you the whole time, Airy, is evil. And then the title screen changes, and instead of being Bravely Default Where the Fairy Flies, it changes to Bravely Default Airy Lies.
Ooh.
They take the FF out, which is fucking... Also because it's a Final Fantasy, right, type deal game. So taking the FF out specifically. Like fucking genius brain. Genius brain. It's awesome. Mm-hmm. But it's also at the end of a really long game. And also the game makes you replay like the same chunk of game like over and over at one point. Because the universe keeps rebooting and you keep losing, and it's because Airy Lies, but you know. I think to get the right ending you have to do it like 9 times or something like that. It's ridiculous. That's wild.
That's a lot.
Yep. But yeah. You want to go into the weeks?
Yeah. Since you just have like one thing.
Yes, we got it.
I got 2 really.
Okay, you go first.
So I'm gonna start with Elden Ring.
Yeah.
I don't think this should be an open world game.
Yeah.
I think Dark Souls really falls when it becomes open world. Because a lot of it, like, people love in Dark Souls 1, after you beat Ornstein and Smo, the game opens up, you have to go beat 4 bosses, you can beat them in any order. One of the bosses you can fight prior to that, but it's like, it's retracing your steps through old areas and shit, and that's what I think people love about it. Also, you get the ability to teleport around, so you don't have to, because there's places that are very hard to access.
Yeah.
With this, it's like you immediately just get thrown. It's the Breath of the Wild problem, but at least Breath of the Wild is Tutorial Island.
Yeah. Like
the Great Plateau, Tutorial Plateau. It still explains to you what the focus of the game is. Mm-hmm. Fucking Elden Ring, you walk outside, you meet this guy, and he goes like, "Oh, I see you're maidenless." He does the no bitches thing to you. He says no maidens. So you have to go around for a bit, rape, and then it's just like the guy's like, go to a castle, and it's like, okay, I'll go find the fucking castle. There is a thing where when you sit at the bonfire, which is called Lost Graces now.
Yeah.
They're pretty easy to see, which is nice. It's not like where is one? It's like you know when it's there.
Okay.
It has a line that points out in the direction. That's it. It's like Ghost of Tsushima shit. Mm-hmm. Where like Ghost of Tsushima had the wind tell you the correct way to go instead of having a traditional waypoint. That's the same thing with this, but once you lose sight of the Grace, you have to open up your map and see where it's vaguely pointing to again. And it kind of just sends you through Lost Grace to Grace and all that.
Yeah.
But then there's the first boss you fight that's in the story that's like an actual blockage. Someone you have to fight that's not optional.
Yeah.
He's
really
way
hard.
too fucking hard. I had like a +1 weapon when I met him.
I heard that every boss in the game is like Nameless King.
No, not that hard. Nameless King, I think, is just...
See, I didn't even have context for that. What I saw was somebody write that and someone else go, oh, fuck.
No, I don't know. There is but then, so I got to that guy and I'm like, this fucking sucks. I literally can't beat this guy. So I'm like, it's an open world, I'll go explore. But then I still explored, went through a bunch of dungeons and shit, but never really found anything to make my character better. I'm not getting a lot of souls, or they're called runes in this.
Yeah.
Not getting a lot of that. Not getting a lot of upgrade materials. I had to find one very specific spot to get an upgrade material. I'm not getting I don't have a lot of huge options for weapons. And then also, since my upgrade materials are so sparse, I just went with the basic longsword the game starts me with. But then I found a claymore, which is like my favorite weapon from Dark Souls 1. And I was like, well, I gotta fucking stick with the longsword now because the claymore it doesn't have the damage that I need. So I finally beat that boss, and now like I'm in like a castle area. I'm enjoying that part, but just overall, I think Dark Souls is better as not everything needs to be a fucking open world.
Yeah, some things can be smaller experiences. I did like that when I fucked around with Sekiro, which is the game in the franchise that I spent the most time with. And I know it's like not really in the franchise, but whatever. It's the
same devs, same like the
same
similar
style,
fighting style
vibes.
and all that.
That's one thing I liked about Sekiro is that it was like smaller areas that were deeply explorable. Right. Excuse me. Yeah.
Also, the hub world is like dropped on you like a lot later.
Yeah.
And then there's a crafting system, of course. There has to be. It's an open world game. It's a modern AAA game. There's a stealth component. And I'm just like, great. I stopped playing Horizon Zero Dawn and started playing
Horizon Zero Dawn.
Horizon Zero Dawn is breath of the fucking like machines.
Yeah.
And fucking Dark Souls this is just breath of the Dark Souls. Like everything. The only thing I dislike really about traversal is there's no really upwards traversal. You can there is now a dedicated jump button, which is good. So that's like how there was in Sekiro. It's a very similar jump, honestly.
Is there no grappling hook? Which was great in Sekiro.
Yeah, no grappling hook in this one.
Damn.
You get a horse that you can summon at any time, and it's very nice. You summon it, and he instantly pops on top of it.
Love that.
With the horse, you get a double jump. And you do get a big increase in speed, and fighting on its back is not that bad. It's just very restrictive. And I feel like you get a damage buff while you're on the horse as well for some reason. But it has a double jump, but the double jump doesn't negate any of the distance you fall. So if you jump off of a cliff, and in a lot of games, if you have a double jump, if you do a double jump right before you hit the ground, the new height you meet on the double jump is actually your fall height. Not in this one. You just take all the damage regardless.
That sucks.
And it's either you die. I think they changed the system for how they determine whether or not you're going to die from a fall.
Yeah.
In Dark Souls, in all the Dark Souls games, and in Demon Souls, I don't think there was fall damage in Sekiro.
No, I don't think there was.
There was obviously you could die by jumping off of a cliff. But I don't think there was like
if it's like a bottomless pit or whatever.
Yeah, I remember that fucking. You know when you're going up the castle or whatever, and that dude from the kite just comes screaming at you and knocks you. I think when he hit me, I fell off the roof.
Yeah.
But his hit is what killed me, not the fall. Yeah, it's just there's the vertical momentum. Oh, okay. The system is that before you would just lose health and you have to like drink a potion to get your health back.
Yeah.
And this one, it's you lose stamina. Like your rolling meter and shit.
Yeah.
If it exceeds your stamina, it kills you.
Oh, just fully.
Yeah. I've fallen from pretty high up and have taken 0 damage, but I've noticed that my stamina goes away. Also, which is interesting, until the game considers you in a fight, anything you do does not take up stamina until you're fighting an enemy.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So it's like when you're like
you can just run.
When like say you pick up a weapon and you're not fighting anything, but you're like, I want to see all its moves. You could just endlessly keep hitting like super stamina heavy moves to see what's up with it.
That's good.
But then as soon as you're in a fight, it's like it starts to go away. Same with running. When you're running around, nothing.
That's
rolling.
So good.
Yeah, it is good. It's like literally, I'm like, ooh, that's a nice one.
Yeah.
One thing I will say I really like is they've the combat, like Dark Souls combat is peak.
Yeah.
But they've now put in a new thing to make blocking with a shield even stronger than it used to be.
That's great.
So
I've heard obviously this game is getting 10 out of 10s from pretty much every reviewer.
I don't think it deserves 10 out of 10. Maybe I will when I get to the end of the game.
Yeah.
But the beginning area is so rough for me that I'm just like, does it deserve a 10? Maybe it gets a 9.
The hard drive article was really funny, and it was disappointing. From Software have paid off every single reviewer.
I did see that.
And then further down, it was like they had sex with every single reviewer at every single video game publication in the world. Why is nobody talking about this?
That's a good joke.
Yeah, this is the real Gamergate.
Yeah.
It's not one woman maybe had sex with one reviewer to get her her
it's that
indie game.
They were FromSoft instead of FromSoft making a better looking video game, they sent out all their game designers to go get fucked.
They're fucking and sucking every single video game reviewer.
You want to know what is funny though?
What?
While this game is visually striking,
it looks less good than
pretty.
fucking Demon's Souls.
Demon's Souls looks better still.
Yeah.
Demon's Souls has better lighting. It has better particle effects.
Just looks better. He said they were looking at what Bluepoint did for Demon's Souls to try to make the graphics look nicer. But like Bluepoint is just fucking top tier.
The animations do look a little nicer. They're still have some of the Dark Souls jank in them, but they're it's still pretty to look at. Not as nice as Bluepoint's where everything was so smooth, but Elden Ring is definitely having frame rate issues across the board everywhere.
But it's apparently much more intense on PC.
Yeah, because it's I believe they did not design it. They designed it with the idea of it being a single player linear experience like the other ones were.
Yeah.
Where now you have to incorporate a ton of things happening at once. And what most games do is when you get outside of a set range of vision, something will despawn unless it's something your character has interacted with. Cyberpunk 2077 had a huge problem with this when it launched, where you would literally be looking at someone, turn around, look back, and they'd either be gone or a different NPC would be swapped into where they were standing.
Yeah, so it's the unloading is so...
Yeah.
So the thing I heard was that it was actually the game... One of the things that was causing slowdown is that the game is running... it's ultra wide,
so that's what I'm saying.
And putting black bars on it,
is everything around. It's trying to load everything without deloading or taking away some textures. It's literally just the whole world is constantly loaded. On PS5 though, it loads incredibly fast. I'm not having a Bloodborne problem.
Nice,
which is why Bloodborne also
should be remastered.
For sure, it should get a game some sort of old Hunters edition or whatever.
I'm so surprised
makes the game run. It runs at 60 FPS. Put it on PC.
Honestly, I think Bloodborne was the turning point for general public and Souls, because now the Souls games and games like it are have gone from niche to being the highest anticipated, some of the highest selling games currently, most hyped up. And I think Bloodborne was the turning point. That game way shot over all expectations from Sony.
Yeah, Demon's Souls was this niche game that literally no one
Sony wouldn't, but Sony refused to publish it in North America because it sold so dog shit in Japan.
Yeah, it's actually just it's so buggy and weird and such a departure from everything else. It's what was a very unique RPG at the time.
Yeah.
And then they were wow, this sucks. But then FromSoft was we have a better idea. Yeah. It's called Dark Souls. And they're this comes kind of close to Demon's Souls. He's we swear it's not. And they just made Dark Souls. Yeah. It's better, but that's became super niche.
Yeah.
It was this cult following where everyone who went and triumphed over Dark Souls was sitting there going Dark Souls is a 10 out of 10. It's the most amazing game I've ever played. And then Dark Souls 2 showed up and ruined all of the goodwill that Dark Souls 1 had garnered.
Yeah.
But because it was an easier game with
more people got into
it, a lot of people got into it, but then they started to people got into it,
the franchise.
And then we're oh, it's not a connected game story, so I'll just go and play 2 and then I'll go play 1. So they played 2, realized the flaws, went back to 1, saw they weren't there.
Yeah.
And then fucking Bloodborne came out. They're I got a PS4 with no games.
Yeah. Because it's 2014 and the PS4 just came out.
Yeah. And they're fuck it. Which is why I bought a PS4.
Right.
It literally, Bloodborne, it put me on the correct path.
Yeah. And so Bloodborne fucking does super well. And yet it's really frustrating because it is a game stuck on 30 FPS that still has some unfortunate bugs in it that really should have been fixed in a later update and patch or in a remaster.
I think Dark Souls bugs though, as long as they're not game breaking,
yeah,
are fun.
Yeah,
it's not like a Fallout bug where it's like this character despawned and they're gone.
So
forever.
obviously, I've played very little Bloodborne. Well, not very little, but I've played some Bloodborne. But that's mostly like a thing I've heard is like there are some definitely like things that need to be patched out of Bloodborne still.
Yeah,
but just like the game needed some further support.
I think a huge flaw is that a lot of the Souls series has like these huge like side quests you can do.
Yeah,
like the stuff with Solaire, the stuff with Siegemeier and Dark Souls 1. And then, like, little other things. The stuff with Dark Knight Kirk, where he's just like a guy who invades you, and every time you kill him, his new pieces of his gear show up outside of Quaylana. And then you read the descriptions of his stuff, and it's like he swore fealty to Quaylana because he saw, like, the kindness she did and became an evil man because humanity heals her. It's like, that's cool. And then, like, your Solaire is, like, constantly looking for, like, his bright sun or whatever. And if you don't help him, he dies.
Yeah.
Or Siegemeier, you meet him and then you meet his daughter, and then in Dark Souls 2 you had like a bunch of characters that like you met along the way. Dark Souls 3 has like quest lines that completely change how the game ends, and then Bloodborne's just like Eileen the Crow is here, and all you have to do with her is just go back to a specific location after like the day has changed.
Is it Bloodborne or Sekiro where you have to pick the right people to stay in your building or else
Bloodborne?
Okay.
There's a guy you can meet. Game Grumps had a very famous moment with him when they played Bloodborne.
Yeah.
There's a guy you can meet in the forest area. It's after you beat the 5th boss in the game. It's on the way to the 6th. Mm-hmm. He is like chilling around a bunch of corpses, and he like is like kind of decrepit looking, and he's like half his face is bandaged. He like acts all sweet and nice to you, but it's very obvious he was eating the people there. Mm-hmm. And when you start to attack him, he calls you a beast. Yeah. He says like you're just like all the rest or whatever, and he turns into a giant lightning werewolf. Mm. And it's fucking super hard to actually kill him. You're on a very small like arena. So what a lot of people do is there's this hallway that you have to go through to get to him.
Yeah.
And since he's so big, he can't fit through the hallway. And right before that, you get 20 poison knives. So what the strat is get him with like one big shot, visceral him that maybe either that takes away none of his health or like a quarter.
Yeah.
And then you run into it, and then you use the monocular, which is like the way you fucking can aim in Bloodborne. Yeah. And you sit there and you throw poison knives until he's poisoned. And then you sit and watch.
And you wait until the poison kills him.
You wait until it kills him. You need like 4 or 5 poison knives to kill him. Mm. But if you let that guy live, if you tell him about Odin Chapel, he'll go there, and after every boss you beat, he kills someone else there.
Yeah.
So if you let him do that and he kills Ariana the whore, you're fucked. Because you need I think you can get all the umbilical cords without her. But she is one of the easier access thirds. Yeah. And if you don't get that, and you lose out on the final boss of the game.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what happened to Game Grumps. That's what happened in their playthrough, is that Aaron fucking didn't read the shit properly.
Yeah.
And so they beat the boss, the moon present. If you don't use the umbilical cords, you beat the final boss, or you beat Gehrman. Mm-hmm. And then the moon presence comes down, and you're like, oh shit, next boss. But if you don't have the umbilical cords, the game just ends and it starts a new game plus.
Damn.
Yeah. It's pretty brutal how it does that. And that's why, also, that was the best change Dark Souls 2 ever made.
What?
And when you beat the final boss in Dark Souls 1, it did the same thing. You immediately went to New Game Plus, so if you missed out on anything, go fuck yourself.
Oh, it like fully like does not let you have post-game.
Yeah. Dark Souls 2 allowed you to have post-game where you would spawn back in Majula, which was the hub world in that area, and you would just have a bonfire that says continue into Journey 2 or whatever. And now that's like that's in Dark Souls 3 as well. So you don't have, which is good because Dark Souls 3 has some really hard DLC, and I would hate to do that on New Game Plus.
Yeah. Does Sekiro let you do post game?
No idea. Never beat it.
I wonder if Elden Ring does. Probably does because it's open world.
The game feels huge. It feels like it's going to be the biggest Souls game.
Of course it is. Well, this is like the most money they've ever had.
Then also weapons. Weapons in Dark Souls 1 went to plus 15. Weapons in Dark Souls 2, 3, and in Bloodborne only go to plus 10.
Yeah.
But this one, I got an item that says it goes to plus 15. Where to make an item to plus 15 in Dark Souls 1, you needed a Titanite slab. So which makes me think, oh fuck, my weapons are going to plus 20 now. And there's going to be a bunch more weapons. There's going to be a ton of bosses. There's going to be a huge amount of mini bosses. I've already found like bosses that are just spawned out in the world that you can fight.
Yeah.
It's just, there's going to be a lot. So I don't think Elden Ring will have the huge speedrunning community like Dark Souls 1 and 3 and Bloodborne have, because I think the speedrun might legitimately, either it's going to be super hard to get into because a lot of speedrunning is grabbing the right gear to go do peak damage. Yeah. But there's either two things are happening. All the bosses have a lot more health, or you don't have enough damage to be done. And I don't think you can get to a plus 6 weapon without beating the first major boss. And without a plus 4, which is what I had, I was doing 50 per hit. With a plus 4, I was doing 90.
Damn.
Yeah. So it's going to be like a weird, like, I'm sure someone's already like labbing it out the perfect way. Like Elden Ring's been beaten already.
Yeah. One thing that I am seeing, like looking at FromSoft's games, is like, I would love to see them, like, not that the Dark Souls and the Souls-likes aren't really beloved, but I'd love to see them tackle either previous things or do new things that aren't in that same vein.
If Elden Ring is truly their magnum opus,
they should not make another Souls-like game and just like do
maybe they can do a DLC for Elden Ring or whatever. But then after
like
that,
Armored Core, the last Armored Core came out in 2013.
Yeah, and wasn't that like just they had their name on it, but someone else developed it?
Yeah, I think 2012 Armored Core 5 was the last real one, but then like there was like a spin-off in 2013.
Yeah. They also had that like ninja game or whatever
Blade
that people thought was what Sekiro was going to be.
Yeah. Oh, Intentia.
That's what it was. That's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah. They also have the Enchanted Arms. They only put one game out in that series. There's also the Armored Core. There's another Centuries episode. Which
the Adventures of Cookie and Cream.
Fact. They could do another Otogi.
Metal Wolf Chaos.
Metal Wolf Chaos, of course. Like Kingsfield. They haven't made another Kingsfield in a long time. Yeah, like the only, like if you look at their output, like the only real like non-Souls thing they've put out was like De Racine, which is that VR game they did.
Yeah.
Which had like I think a reference to some stuff. And Monster Hunter Diary Poca Poca Iroh Village DX.
Yeah.
Which is a Monster Hunter spin-off for the PSP that got a 3DS remake or remaster or whatever, which I think they didn't actually work on the remaster. It just, like...
It kind of looks like Animal Crossing.
Yeah. It's Monster Hunter themed Animal Crossing because for some reason there's a million fucking Monster Hunter spin-offs.
It's a good series.
It is a good series.
All right, want to talk about Suikoden?
Yeah, so, excuse me. As I mentioned last week, I've been playing Suikoden, which is a Konami PS1 JRPG, and it's fantastic. And I beat it today, and it's a really good game. So as I told Ian last week, he would probably love to whip his fucking dick out about this game, because it is a JRPG with no loot system, or basically no loot system. There are certain items that you do pick up that do things like magic. There's orbs that you essentially assign to characters that let them do certain kinds of magic, right? So there is that, but there is no like, and there's equipment that you can buy, like armor and accessories, but so those technically have a loot element, but at least for weapons there is no loot. You just get your starting weapon and you go to the blacksmith and you can sharpen it, and that costs money. And then you can sharpen it, and then certain blacksmiths can only sharpen your weapon up to certain levels. The max level is 16 for every character's weapon, which is not a massive amount, but does require a lot of money because it's like exponential price-wise. Like, it's very large differences in price. So that is where most of your money in that game goes, but by a certain point, you can easily grind money and get super rich if you go to certain areas where people be dropping like 10,000 or more at once. And so that element's great, but what I didn't mention last week, because I don't think I had gotten there yet, is this game decides to also have other random mechanics at certain points. So partway through the game, when you really start collecting your army, as I mentioned last week, you can hire up to... there's 108 at once is the maximum amount of party members you can have, or I guess people in your army. But there was actually like 111 if you count the fact that certain characters die over the course of the game. So when you get to a certain point, when you start actually taking on, you do about 5 or 6 times throughout the game full like army control rock paper scissors style gameplay. Mechanics where the game just changes and you do army battles that are really cool, and then 3 times over the course of the entire game. That's once per every 10 hours, but not really, because they all kind of happen in the middle 10. But they fucking have you do one-on-one duels, which are also kind of rock paper scissorsy, but they're really cool. And of course, like, how one of them turns out depends on whether or not one of your characters gets to live, which is cool. Like, there's a lot of cool shit in this game. Like, the story's really good, the fucking gameplay is really good. You're fighting against an evil empire. I like it. I like it a lot, man. If you have never played Suikoden before, I highly recommend emulating it. It is not really being supported at all by Konami, and fuck Konami. So yeah, emulate it on your PS1 emulators out there. Make sure you have your BIOS. I had to repeat like the first hour of the game 3 or 4 times because I couldn't figure out why my save kept corrupting. It's because I did
what are
not
you playing it on?
Our PC SX.
Is it the PS2 emulator?
PS1.
PS1?
Yeah.
Just literally before you use the PlayStation emulator, you should always look up a guide because they have different rules.
So the PS2 emulator requires the BIOS to even work at all.
Yeah.
The PS1 emulator, it recommends a BIOS, but you don't need one. But straight up, if you want to save games on the PS1 emulator, you need a BIOS. Like, or else the save will be corrupted. You cannot overwrite it.
Yeah.
Which is fucking annoying. It took me ages to figure that out. I had to go on the wiki. But I figured it out. And now I'm really happy with the game. I'm excited to get into the second one sometime soon, because I heard that one's even better. I know that opens with like a really cool opening sequence. But Suikoden, fucking awesome. I would love to see this franchise and one other franchise that I think I've talked about on the podcast before that happened at around the same time and stopped existing at around the same time. I think absolutely should come back one way or another, and it's this franchise and the Wild Arms. I think Wild Arms would fucking rock in a new game. You know Wild Arms?
No.
It's a cowboy themed JRPG where there are the arms in question are like these artifacts left around that wield incredible power, and they're fucking all guns. And it's awesome. There's still magic. There's still like some castles and knights and shit, but there's also fucking cowboys, and you shoot gun. I think you could do that if you could, like, the Western equivalent of Persona that up. I think it'd be rad.
Yeah.
Would you play Persona with cowboy?
Maybe.
And it played like the that type of music.
Yeah, probably.
Hell yeah. And it doesn't take place in the real world. It takes place in a fantasy world that happens to have a cowboy.
It's always got to be in the fantasy world.
Yeah. Suikoden takes place in fantasy China, I want to say.
Yeah.
Yep. Really cool. They do a lot of great world building in Suikoden, like, because all the games take place in the same world, but like not the exact same world map, because there's like different areas, but they reference shit in this game that happens in like that's like going to happen later on apparently. Like there's some characters that can join your party that like hint at like clearly this person has a story going on that apparently comes back in the second and third games.
Yeah.
Which I think is funny.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I played the first hour of Final Fantasy VI, and wow, that game's great. You should play it. It's the best JRPG that came out this week.
So does your week end on Thursdays?
I thought you said you didn't like Elden Ring.
I do that always. I'm like very hyperbolic, but like I would probably give the game an 8. It could grow up, There's a lot
Final
of time
Fantasy
left.
6 is a 10.
I stepped into that fucking poison swamp that's in the game though, and I want it to die. It's gonna be a nightmare because it's not just poison. Poison still exists in the game. There's another thing called the Scarlet Rot.
Yeah, Miyazaki did that in an interview where he talked about how much he loves making poison swamps.
Yeah, which sucks. He must have like really been bummed out with Bloodborne then.
Yeah.
There's one poison swamp, and it's incredibly avoidable.
Yeah.
You don't even have to step into it the entire game. Yeah.
The next Dark Souls game is going to be all Poison Swamp, the entire game.
Honestly, I think that would be kind of funny. I don't hate poison swamps. Like I think they're annoying, but I think the reason why people have a big problem with them is because of the anxiety you get with your health constantly ticking down. But poison in Dark Souls is such a low like loss of life. Like toxic in Dark Souls is bad.
Yeah.
You lose like a 16th of your health every second. So you're constantly rehealing. If you get hit like once, you could just fucking die.
Yeah.
But poison, it goes down so slowly. Like you have like 30 seconds before it takes down half of your health. So you can kind of just like go through the area and just like watch your health and then like play conservatively. It's not that bad. It's annoying in Dark Souls 1 though, because like you'd have to cross the massive poison swamp to get to a boss, and then the boss just like you're like, I'm poisoned fighting this bitch who kills me in like 2 hits.
Do you want me to gift you Final Fantasy 6?
No, because I'm very busy right now.
Because the opening of Final Fantasy 6, first of all, you start off, you're in a Magitech mech.
Yeah.
And you're like a brainwashed woman who happens to be maybe the last person with real magic on the earth. Because Magitech exists in this empire, and so you're working with Biggs and Wedge, who are members of this empire, to invade this town to catch this woman frozen in ice, and like you're essentially just part of there. You have to fight off some resistance when you get there because they don't like the fucking empire, and then you try to get the woman. The woman in the case destroys the 2 men with you, but just frees you of your mind control. And then you wake up in a bed. Then you get attacked.
So once again, Biggs and Wedge can't catch a fucking break.
Well, in this case, it's because they're evil. But yeah, and then you wake up in somebody's house who's like trying to protect you. There's an angry mob outside against you, but he knows that you were brainwashed. So then you run away with the thief and go to a castle, and the castle is run by a king who flirts with you because he's a young king and he's cool, and he's also against the empire because he's like, it's the area that's against him. And then the fucking empire shows up, and then you all jump off of the fucking roof of the castle, land on some chocobos, and then they're like, well, we'll just burn the castle down. Then you're like, yo, high-tech castle. Bam. And the castle sinks into the sand because it's a fucking mechanicized castle. It's so fucking awesome. It all happens in like 1 hour. And you're like, oh, shit. It's great. FF6... in case you didn't know, Final Fantasy VI, often considered by many to be the best Final Fantasy, happens to be a good video game.
It just is overshadowed by the next one.
Well, yeah. I mean, like, for the fan base, like, I always said, like, 5 is the one that gets overshadowed, because 5 is, like, the funny one that's, like, not super deep, but has deep gameplay, because it has, like, more focus on jobs and, like, the game mechanics.
Can I put this in Zelda terms and you tell me if I'm correct or not?
Yeah, okay.
FF7
Yep.
is Ocarina of Time.
Okay.
FF6
Yep.
is Majora's Mask. And then FF5 is like Twilight Princess.
FF5 I think would be like Link's Awakening
Yeah.
in this. Like whereas like
So I feel like Twilight Princess, despite the fact that it was like a commercial success, is overlooked.
So I would say, like, the reason why I say FF5 is Link's Awakening, at least maybe pre-Switch version Link's Awakening, is because, like, Link's Awakening is a much more funny game. Like, it's more down-to-earth.
Yeah.
But it has, like, weird mechanics. And it's just, like, it was a Game Boy game, so people gave more of a shit about, like, Link to the Past or whatever. Which is fine, because, like, Link to the Past is a great game. Ocarina of Time is a great game, right? Link to the Past, I'm saying, is FF4 in this scenario.
Yeah.
Like, and FF6 is a great game, but 5 is, like, also good. It's just kind of overlooked because it's not necessarily a better story than those games, but it's a better mechanical game that's just, like, kind of fun and goofy.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. 4, 5, and 6 are all great. And so is 7, and so is 8, and so is 9, and so is 10. 11 not really. 12 really good, kind of underrated,
Kind of unknown.
Yeah. 13 I think got a really bad rap. Like, it's better than people made it out to be at the time, like, because it was shit on so overly.
It's just
like,
it's the 20-hour tutorial one.
Yeah.
Where that was the meme. It's like, yo, bro, it gets so good 20 hours in,
Yeah.
and then everyone's like, I don't have fucking 20 hours.
And it also, like, tells a lot of its story like Destiny 1.
I have to go to a website?
There's an archive in the game, in the pause menu.
Yeah.
Where you read through a bunch of shit, which is, like, not good video game storytelling. Like,
Yeah.
if you can be a Final Fantasy 13 lover, a lot of people have that as their favorite, and you're allowed. Like, you're not. I'm not telling you're a fucking idiot, but you also have to admit that it is kind of annoying the way they had that game paced out and, like, the way it tells its story.
Yeah.
But the girls in that game are really hot.
Yeah. That's why Lightning was like a model.
Yeah.
In real life.
The thing that makes me really uncomfortable is that Toriyama, not Akira Toriyama, the Toriyama who directed FF13, really wants to fuck Lightning. Like, talks about it. He's like, I designed the perfect woman, and, like, Lightning's the best character ever. It's like, it's got, like, it does have, like, big Alice in the Resident Evil movies vibes.
Yeah.
Which I don't personally like, but I know a lot of people like FF13, and they feel bad because everyone shits on it. So I'm not here to shit on the thing you like. But anyway, you have one more thing?
Yeah, I'm just going to spoil a bunch of Horizon Forbidden West.
Okay.
So if you care, please stop listening. So I think this will be the last thing on the podcast, right?
I read spoilers last week on my phone and did not say them out loud.
Yeah, so I'm 40% of the way through. I know everything I know what the Zeniths or the fucking future people are.
Yeah.
Can you, like, what the fuck? First of all, you make a super intelligent AI whose entire basis is to repopulate the planet afterwards, and a dickhead destroys all language and, like, history. So humans were doomed to repeat it and all that. So the people come out with just English as the only language they know now.
Yeah.
And they all go out and have kids and they do whatever. And then a fucking bunch of bullshit happens. Then Gaia, the fucking thing, blows itself up, and one of its sub-matrices go bad. But then you think it's like, oh, it's because an AI, it just went bad. Or it was, like, designed to do this when it was no longer needed, but they didn't consider this. Oh, no, actually, it was because a planet that's 8.6 light years away fucking sent a signal that caused her to explode. And then the people on that planet aren't just... they aren't the descendants of the people who went to that planet to escape Earth. They are the people.
Oh.
So, everyone there that was, like, on this other future planet were the original people from Earth. They are, like, 1,000 years old.
Okay.
But just like how people aren't meant to live forever, they are all kind of fucked up now and think themselves to be, like, superior beings. Mm-hmm. So they have come to Earth to commit genocide to resettle it and make it like a perfect like land for humans where they're like live like gods and shit.
Okay.
And it's just so fucking confusing. Because they didn't explain how the people just became immortal. Mm-hmm. They go like, how did they live forever? And they just go like, pharmaceuticals. And it's like, okay. We don't.
So
like,
have you gone to Las Vegas yet?
Yeah, I've been to Vegas.
Okay.
I've been underwater. I'm at the point now where the game is like...
You're looking for Faro's bunker?
Yeah, Ted Faro's bunker. That's where I stopped because I started... Because you get like... You bring back friends to your like base of operations, which is funny because the start of the game I was complaining that Aloy just won't like accept help from anybody. Yeah. She's constantly like, no Varl, no errand, fuck off, it can only be me, and then she like almost dies.
Have you met CEO, the character's name?
Spell it?
CEO. Yeah.
It's CEO?
Yeah. That's what Wikipedia says.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I might have.
It's
a guy?
Yes.
No, I don't know.
He's the leader of the Quen. Quen.
Oh, I've met the Quen.
Okay.
So I don't know where the Quen are from. They just say they're from over the Pacific Ocean, which is that's the west one, right?
Yes.
So they crossed the Great Ocean, but I'm like, okay, so are they from Hawaii or are they like Russians?
Yeah.
So they were people who were left with, on that side, they were left with technology. So you meet this girl and she's like a diviner for them or whatever, and she has an older version of the Focus, like one from pre-2050, where Aloy's is from like right before the world exploded.
Yeah.
So you give her a bunch of data. I'm going to have to go meet them, I think, after like I meet up with Ted Faro or like find Faro's tomb or whatever. So yeah, it's just it's so much. There's so much weird shit in the game. I did find something really cool though. I'm sure it was in a trailer and I just wasn't paying attention.
What?
Before in Horizon Zero Dawn, you could only mount like horse-based ones. Now you can mount the bulls / boars, whatever.
Nice.
And you can use them as like destructive tanks, and you can also mount velociraptors. But yeah, it's like when I found out those people were actually from space, I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me right now, man. This is ridiculous. Are you fucking serious? And then it's like, oh, not only are they from space, they're the original people, and to come back and take back over all the systems, they made another clone of Elizabeth or whatever the fuck. It's like, wow, this is dumb. You guys are crazy. Yeah, but I'm really enjoying Horizon Zero Dawn.
That's great.
I think the combat's really good. I think I was just stupid when I was younger, aka 21, or 22, whatever.
When the first game came out?
Yeah. I was 21 at the time, but I was turning 22 that year. Where I just like ignored the elemental weapons and just only used the bows. You got to use the elements. Like literally,
I don't even remember the elemental stuff. Although to be fair, that game fucking went in my brain and out. I played like 20 hours of it, and then I tried to play the tutorial again, and I was like, "Is this what this game was like?" I do not remember.
Yeah. I think like the traversal in the game is really fun. I really enjoy how they do the markings of like to see where you can climb. I
remember you feeling really heavy in that game.
Yeah. Now she feels kind of light, but also heavy. Like, you'll go and jump. You'll do, like, this huge fucking jump, and Aloy will just catch herself and keep going. And then you'll do, like, this minor jump, and she'll catch and be like, whoa! My momentum is almost tearing me. And I'm like, this is so scripted and fake. It's annoying the shit out of me.
And that's why it was better in Uncharted, a game that's super linear. So the scripted stuff feels a little less scripted or less annoying.
But in Horizon Zero Dawn 1, it wasn't a very vertical game. The only stuff that you could go vertically up was scripted climbing areas.
Yeah.
And they had those like yellow fucking like holds that were all popping out of the wall. Now in Forbidden West, you activate your focus and you just see like little lines on the mountains that are like, oh, these are where handholds are for you. And that's like interesting, but they're fucking everywhere. It makes me just think, like, why did you even make handholds? Why not just make this, like, Assassin's Creed, Breath of the Wild, like Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Assassin's Creed Valhalla? You just can run at mountains in those games and start climbing.
Yeah.
But in this one, it's like, no, you're only climbing these specific spots, but then because of that, Aloy's climbing feels very janky.
Yeah, it goes to Tsushima, you could only climb in certain spots, like, specifically like that.
Yeah, and they were marked.
You could do,
yellow
like,
shit.
jumping and, like, basic platforming up certain things.
Yeah.
But then, like, for the mountains and stuff, for flat faces, like, it would be in certain areas.
Yeah, so and also, Aloy has, like, a grappling hook that she can use.
Yeah.
And you use it kind of similar to, like, Uncharted 4's grappling hook. You have like a way to access it because there's like these, you'll get like shit on walls where it's like, oh, if you use this grappling hook, Aloy can like tear it out. And I'm like, this fucking woman, Captain America, she's like ripping down concrete and like pulling out giant pieces of rebar and shit, or like steel beams. I mean, not rebar.
Yeah.
But like it's so like this is so dumb. Just make it something else.
Yeah.
But you can use a grappling hook on like a bunch of climbing surfaces, but you can also just climb up to where the grappling hook is sometimes. So it's like, what's faster? But then if you hold circle while you're like shooting up, Aloy will like launch herself off the top. So there is some fun stuff you can do with that by like grappling up, launching yourself further up, activating the glider, flying over top of a fucking machine, stabbing it in the back and
Oh, you
from
get a
midair.
glider in this one?
Yeah, you get a glider. You get it very early on. It does make like traversal better and stuff, but makes rappelling feel pointless.
Yeah, like
rappelling was it a thing you could do to safely get down from the tops of mountains in the previous game because you didn't have, your only other option would be to climb right back down.
Yeah.
From the same position, but now you can climb anywhere. I can just jump off of a fucking cliff and glide down. So rappelling just feels kind of stupid. Yeah. Like it looks cool, but when you have to do it, like there's like one story instance where like the village you're like defending is being attacked, and you and like 12 other people just all rappel down at the exact same time. It's like, whoa, that's really coordinated and cool. But then it's like, this is dumb. I don't need to do this. I wish the grappling hook was just either remove the anchor points or add in a lot more to let me grapple up to places.
Yeah, I thought in Dying Light 2, when you get the grappling hook, I thought it would be super scripted.
Yeah.
But you can actually use it all the fucking time.
Yeah, see, that grappling hook should be an all the time sort of thing.
Yeah.
There should be like a fucking thing with grappling hooks where like it's like the clutch claw in Monster Hunter World Iceborne.
You can't climb up or down the grappling hook in Dying Light 2. You can only swing.
You can only swing? That's still fine.
Yeah. It's annoying sometimes because you're like, come the fuck on.
Yeah. But yeah, Horizon Forbidden West, great game, great story. Sometimes really restrictive in your movement, but still tries to give you more options. Yeah. That's about it.
Fair enough.
I'm hoping I want them to. I feel like they're about to give me like a weapon that's just like, this is your weapon now. It's like the best thing in the game because they're gonna have to give me something so I can. Because you go to save like one of the machines or whatever, and you walk, or like one of the pieces of Gaia, and you walk up, and there's like a brand new Zenith like fighting like some fucking Oseram dudes. And they fire something at her that destroys her shield.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work anymore, but then she gets like shot in the chest with an arrow and she dies. And then like Aloy picks up what is left of the thing that destroyed her shields. It's like, well, once I get that, I'm going to fucking destroy everything, I guess.
Yeah.
So they're really trying to like keep it away from me right now. But I'm just sitting there like, give it to me.
Yeah. One thing I actually forgot to mention from my week is... I played on the Steam Next Fest the demo for Neon White.
Yeah.
Did you play it? I
did not. I've only played Horizon this week.
That's fair.
Then Elden Ring.
The demo for Neon White is so fucking good. Go play it. The game is great. It's super good. It has that like... It is essentially just like really tight levels that you are meant to learn to speedrun and then also find some secrets in. And it just feels really fucking good.
That's good.
It runs really well on my PC, so I'm glad I can get the PC version because I'm sure playing a FPS with the Switch controller is going to be annoying. Because like, it doesn't have the nice pulley triggers, you know? Like it is definitely an FPS that works really well with controller because there's a lot of movement options. So I think it'll work really well with both controller and mouse and keyboard, which is good. But because it's only on PC and Switch, I think the PC version is going to be better because I can use my PS4 controller instead of the Switch controller. And also because the Switch is relatively underpowered.
Yeah, no, for sure.
The game's really fun. Ben Esposito, it's very different, which is interesting, like different in tone, to Ben Esposito's other game, Donut County, and his other games that he did under a different name, Sonic Dreams Collection. It is so fucking weird that the same guy who made Donut County made Sonic Dreams Collection.
Yeah.
It's wild, but extreme talent to make either of those, let alone both. And also he worked on What Remains of Edith Finch. But he wasn't like the lead; he just was on the team. But
yeah, sorry,
anyway.
Twitter's just going off right now about some dumb shit.
Okay, great. So anyway, like that's it. Play the fucking game. The demo is out. When the game comes out, I'm fully gonna buy it. It's fantastic.
That's good.
Yeah,
it's always nice to find new games.
Exactly. And that's it for the episode. Thank you so much for listening and or watching. If you want to watch the video version, we're at youtube.com/N8SComedy, where every Monday you see a video version of this podcast. If you want to follow me, I'm at the Media Hole on pretty much everything, including Twitter, TikTok, and Twitch. But I'm also, you can find me at www.whenyourballs.get stuck-to-your-leg.tumblr.com. And if you want to find Ian, he's at StrugglesV on everything. He recently came under fire for saying that he wanted to support Russia and anti-Russia. All right, guys, thanks so much. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.